I want to introduce Ashu Roy, the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of eGain, and he's going to talk to us today about the Knowledge Foundation, taking GPT from transformer to transformation, something that all of us are thinking about. What a great day. Ashu is the co-founder of eGain, and he has done lots of good stuff. Sorry, I'm being quick. I'll just let you go. How's that?
I appreciate that.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Slow.
Good morning. That was a great presentation. Thank you, both of you. The whole area of tacit knowledge is very interesting, but what I'm going to talk about is knowledge management and the opportunity to do a lot more with your explicit knowledge, the 20% that both the ladies talked about. Their focus is on the 80%. We focus on the 20%. Let's talk about ChatGPT and generative AI. Time is short, but here's something we all are aware of. Even though the excitement is extremely high, we are all aware that there's a lot of hype. Gartner's assessment of AI technologies puts generative AI right at the top of the bubble, if you will, of inflated expectations. And that's no coincidence. We are all expecting magic. And there are bits of magic, and we'll talk about that. My goal today in the next 14 minutes is to talk about what can be done and what are ways that you all in your organization can marshal the power of generative AI, but in a responsible and effective way. Who recognizes this statue, the person whose statue this is? Anyone? Okay. Speak up. Turing, yes, that's right. A Brit saying Turing, correct. You are British, right? No, well, good. Well, even better, even better. So when Turing came up with his Turing test close to 75 years ago, give or take, he never felt, at that time at least, that machines could do it in any sort of reasonable time frame. Guess what? Now, routinely, GPT-4 and variants of GPT-4, the open source versions included, can in fact beat the Turing test or pass the Turing test, the test for intelligence that can fool a human into believing that the resource behind the curtain is not a machine. Right? That's the Turing test. So the fact that GPT and generative AI has gotten to this point tells us that there's a ton of opportunity in how we can use this capability. So let's look at what are some of the ways that today we are able to use this technology. The number one thing that you have to keep in mind is that the adoption of ChatGPT, right, has been really extraordinary because of the ease of use. That's what drives adoption of ChatGPT. If you look at how long it took Google Translate to get to 100 million users, that was more than 70 months. It took ChatGPT 2 months to get there. I'm sure if I do a show of hands here, how many of you have an account on ChatGPT? Raise your hands. Pretty much all of you. Okay. And if you don't, get one, because it's free. Okay. The interesting question with it is, what do you do with it on a personal level? How do you use ChatGPT on a personal level? I'm not talking about business. What do you use it for? To search, sometimes, gives you a good answer, right? The one answer. Even if it is not really accurate, it's so easy that trumps the accuracy. So ease will trump accuracy. with generative AI. And so as you think about how to apply generative AI in your environment, what you will see here as we go through the rest of the conversation is places where making things easy is really the way to increase business benefit, and where you can sacrifice some level of accuracy or constrain the use in a way that accuracy is maintained or confirmed. That's the principle behind how we have gone about it, and we have seen some tremendous value in our technology that we have built out, and we'll talk about that. And some of our customers, we're seeing improvements of up to 5x. That's right, things that would take 5 weeks to build out knowledge bases and create taxonomies and ontologies. Now we are able to deliver to our customers in less than a week because we have applied this technology on our platform. So let me show you first what are some of the things we are aware of and keeping in mind as we go through adopting GPT technologies. Number one, even if it is not perfect today, the rate of improvement is ridiculously high. Most of us cannot fathom exponential change. And the rate at which this technology is moving is absolutely unbelievable. Right? We're talking about 10x improvement in 2 years in terms of capability. Now, we're not saying that can go on forever, but certainly this exponential rate will create solutions in 2 to 3 years, which we cannot imagine today. So whatever you do today, you have to get in the game. The second thing is the productivity improvements are phenomenal. McKinsey Global Institute talks about 35 to 40% improvement in business productivity in areas that are customer-facing over the next 10 years because of generative AI. Customer-facing areas, customer engagement areas. That's a huge improvement. At the same time, the risk of brand and IP is real. Large companies are really worried about it. And guess what? What are they doing? They're closing all the doors, but they are sorting this out internally. It's not like they are stopping. And so if you are doing the same, you are sorting out how you're going to deploy generative capabilities in your workflow, in your knowledge organization, then you're doing exactly what most companies are doing. Outwardly, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of effective solutions and experiences that are coming out with GPT yet, outwardly. But inwardly, there's a lot of work going on. I'm sure you will agree with that. The part that is quite worrisome about generative AI is that the technology transparency is low. There are a handful of companies that really know what's going on inside those black boxes. Yes, there are open source solutions, clearly, but given that you have to, for most of us who have businesses to work in or businesses to run, we want solutions that are reasonably well supported and managed and so on. And those technologies are not transparent at this point. But that's changing as well with new regulations and laws, which at this point is pretty much non-existent. So, big winners and losers ahead. I'll talk about knowledge management and how we are seeing the value of generative AI in our platform for our customers. The thing with knowledge management, it's at the heart of it, especially the explicit knowledge management, is a very simple business. You need to know what questions you need to answer, and you need to have answers for those questions. It's a simple business, but doing it can create tremendous value. And I want all of us who are in knowledge management to look at this area of your business, because in customer engagement, in customer service, according to Gartner, knowledge management is the #1 technology that businesses can deploy to improve customer experience, to improve business experience, and to improve operational performance. That's a tall order. #1 technology. Now with generative AI, to me, the biggest challenge of knowledge management, explicit knowledge management, is that it is a lot of manual work behind the scenes to manage all these things that you as a knowledge manager or knowledge leader, have to have your team do on an ongoing basis. You have to constantly be looking at what questions people are asking. I'm talking about service and engagement models, right? I'm not talking about internal product development. You're always looking at what questions people are asking. You're looking at the content you have, which is documented, correct content, but not consumable, not knowledge ready. And you have to turn that into, through a process of curation, into knowledge, organize it through ontologies. That job is manual, and it takes a lot of work. And that is the biggest choke point of effective knowledge management in customer engagement. Now, here is the suggestion, and this is what we are building on. If we treat GPT, or generative capabilities, as a young, excited, new hire who's coming into your organization, doesn't know much about your business, but knows all the basics, knows how to read, write, think, do basic math, very, very excited, can do anything, give it anything, it'll do it. May not do it very well. How would you use that resource? Well, you would put them in the right role. You would oversee them, you would guide them, you'd supervise them, you'd check their quality. And that's really what you want to do with GPT today. You put your GPT technology into a knowledge hub, so you have your existing ways of managing content, ensuring content is correct. You have existing ways of imposing controls, so you know where to deploy your GPT and your generative capabilities and where not to. And you have analytics and oversight to measure and manage what's going on. That's the solution that we launched 2 months ago, called Assist GPT from our eGain product line. Assist GPT, and you can see this at our booth if you wish, gives you the ability to do exactly that, which is for knowledge workers, and I'll show you some examples. If you're a knowledge worker, if you're a knowledge manager, you want to be able to look at an existing piece of content in your knowledge base and have your technology, your tool, tell you what's missing. Could this be consumed better? Could this be presented better? And using generative AI, you can have insights coming out to say, you know what, this can be organized or bulleted or highlighted or summarized, or meta tags can be created. All of that can be done by GPT. Now, of course, behind the scenes, there's a lot of prompt engineering going on, but that's what we are providing as a best practice library. And then you can improve it, you can add your own, you can enhance it. So, for example, a badly written article like the one I just showed you can now be recreated in a much more consumable way. And as a knowledge manager, you have the ability to oversee it, to decide if it is correct, and if so, use it. This is the approach that we have taken across the board. GPT is an assistant, and it needs to embed itself in the flow of work for knowledge creators, knowledge managers, and knowledge users. And as technology gets better and better, which it is, GPT is going rapidly in the right direction, you can start to move this capability to the front end, which is with adequate quality controls, you can move it to self-service. Without that, you are taking a chance. Without that, compliance is at risk. Without that, the company brand is at risk. And so that's what we are so excited about, is get early into the business of harnessing the power of generative AI. But use it within the context of a knowledge hub that gives you both the energy and automation, the knowledge automation capability that SugarWorks co-founders talked about, but then bring it in a reliable, compliant, and cost-effective way. Thank you very much.